my legs ain't what they used to be.
Now he's showing his style. He's copied everything from Ali. Great legs.
They said at one time when someone knocked me down.
Weaver is at him. Oh, we have a fight.
Then I get up and finish him off like a champion.
Weaver is down from the uppercut. Weaver is down from the uppercut.
They didn't think I could beat Jerry Cooney in '82.
And Cooney took a good right hand from Holmes. He staggers and is down.
Now they say I'm old and I'm gonna lose, but tonight I will knock out David Bey.
So Larry Holmes journeys back to the city where 7 years ago he was anointed heavyweight champion. But tonight, a hungry young challenger threatens to put an end to the heavyweight era of Larry Holmes. Champion Larry Holmes tries to fend off the challenge of top contender David Bey. Live from the Riviera Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada, HBO Sports presents World Championship Boxing. The main event, IBF heavyweight champion Larry Holmes defends his title against David Bey, scheduled for 15 rounds. Once again, we're outdoors in the desert where fight fans eagerly await the latest chapter in the undefeated career of Larry Holmes. As always, an electricity in the air as this crowd anticipates the conceivability of an aging champion finally meeting his match. Hello, everybody. I'm Barry Tompkins, and welcome to the Riviera Hotel here in Las Vegas. This, of course, the scene of the last defense of the heavyweight championship for Larry Holmes. Tonight, the word last takes on an added significance, as this, he says, will be his last. We'll see. Joining us for expert commentary, the champ, Sugar Ray Leonard. Ray, you've been in that position before. You talk about retirement. What does it do the night of the fight when you know that's in the back of your head?
Well, Barry, there's been so much written about Larry Holmes contemplating in his career at this fight with David Bey tonight. Through my conversation with him, I actually feels he's gearing himself towards retirement. His performance tonight will play a significant role as far as in his career, although breaking Rocky Marciano's 49-0 record comes to mind.
Got to be in the back of his mind. Well, of course, no HBO fight would be complete without our own sage, Larry Merchant. And Larry, you and I always seem to sit here and talk at this time about the possibility of the challenger beating the champion. Let's talk about David Bey tonight.
I think he has a real chance. I think he has a real chance because over the last few years, Larry Holmes has fought only two big, strong guys who have fought back, Bone Crusher Smith and Tim Witherspoon, and both of them gave him trouble. At this stage of Holmes' career, he wants to face an opponent who will come to him. He won't have to chase David Bey. The problem is, if you don't stop a steamroller before it begins to roll, it may roll over you. That's another way of saying, I think that Larry Holmes has to hurt or stop David Bey early. Otherwise, his crown is in real jeopardy.
Interesting phenomena going on, I think, as involves Larry Holmes, and that is that everybody sits and waits for the demise of Larry Holmes. That's probably the most significant thing about it. They wait, and they wait, and they wait. And when last seen, they were still waiting.
I don't foresee myself going too far into 1982, and this year might be my last year. But we're not going to stay in boxing and lose everything we worked hard
June
for.
11th, and then I can say, if I want to get out of the game, I can get out. But I predict, in my life, in my career, the rest of my career in boxing, I will retire.
Because I got what I want. I need one more fight to finish doing what I'm doing, and I can be able to say, hey, that's it. 1983 will be my last year of boxing.
And I want to be on HBO. I want to tell them that my desire is to take one or two more fights or whatever I feel like doing and get on out of the boxing game.
If the price is right, they can get a fight.
The public doesn't believe a fighter when he says, I'm going to retire. Why should they believe Larry Holmes? I found out from a recent experience when it's time to call it quits. The question comes up always, when should a boxer retire? Fighters ask themselves that question many times during their career. And now, at the age of 35, Larry Holmes is about to make that simple, yet most important decision. Let's journey back to 1978. A young Larry Holmes decision, heavyweight champion Ken Norton.
This has been a great boxing show. Both fighters courageous as Holmes comes back. Throws a kick. He's got into trouble. Yes.
Last November, James Bonecrusher Smith.
Holmes now has to brawl with Smith. So now it is Holmes who is fighting Smith's fight. There was a right hand. That hurt Holmes.
Can you see a difference between the Larry Holmes that fought Ken Norton in 1978 and the Larry Holmes that fought Bonecrusher Smith in '84?
Yes, I see it different. I think I'm a better fighter now than I were when I fought Ken Norton. I'm a young 35. I haven't taken a lot of beating, punches and whatnot. Last fight, I got cut for the first time with a headbutt, and I had a year layoff, so I felt that I fought a better fight than I really expected. I was trying to build my confidence to say, hey, I'm gonna be all right, but I knew that rust will set in because of my age factor.
Larry, publicly, at least you said, this is your last fight. But one reporter from the New York Daily News said you called Butch Lewis after the Spinks Sears fight, discussing a possible fight with the light heavyweight champion. Are you having second thoughts?
I felt that Butch Lewis wants me to fight Michael Spinks. He was trying to make that fight before, but I don't feel that he's a qualified promoter to put up the dollars that I would want to fight a Michael Spinks. And I did say that I would retire. But, you know, again, you know, money changes a lot of people's mind. But if the price is not met that I want, then I will retire.
Retirement. One word that has plagued champions and contenders since the turn of the century. Nowhere is it more controversial than in the heavyweight divisions. Three names come to mind: Muhammad Ali, Rocky Marciano, and the great Joe Louis.
Well, I'd like to say again that I retired. Tonight was my last fight. Thank you very much.
Then, 2 years later, huge debts to the U.S. government forced Joe Louis back in the ring. He took a $300,000 guarantee to fight Rocky Marciano to help pay back the $1 million he owed in unpaid taxes. The glorious career of Joe Louis, a champion loved by millions, ended on a sour note. On the other hand, Rocky Marciano went on to win the heavyweight title. After 49 victories without a loss and $4 million in ring earnings, Rocky walked away at the age of 32.
I would like to announce my retirement from boxing at this time.
And then, of course, there is the story of the greatest. Muhammad Ali came out of retirement in 1980 to challenge, of all people, a former sparring partner by the name of Larry Holmes.
Well, you don't want to destroy a legend. You know, Muhammad Ali was a legend in my time, and he was my friend. And later on, I went to his room, and we joked about it, and I told him, I said, man, I love you. He said, if you love me, why did you whoop me like that there?
Whether for pride, ego, or just to be in the public eye, Ali could not take the inactivity out of the ring. It's been said, Larry, that Ali stayed around too long, that he couldn't deal without the limelight. I found it tough to adjust to life without boxing sometimes. I'm content now, but what's going to happen with Larry Holmes once he retires?
Well, I got other things to keep my mind occupied. And what helped me out a lot, Ray, and what's helping me now is living in Eastern Pennsylvania. It's a town that is small, that has not a whole lot of activity, not a lot of excitement there, and it will help me adjust. And if I want excitement, I can go see Ray Leonard in Maryland. I can go to New York and do the disco.
Larry, they all saying that you're ready to be taken. They say you're not the same fighter you were years ago. Your fans, they love you. They're almost pleading for you to retire undefeated. Is there added pressure?
I feel the two things, Ray. I feel that people want me to retire because they don't want me to break the record of Marciano. They feel that it's been there a long time. People want me to retire because they don't want to give me the credit that I probably deserve as being one of the great fighters of all time. That doesn't bother me, Ray. I just want to be able to do it as long as I want to do it, and when I don't have that desire to do it anymore, to quit.
No one knows what's in store for Larry Holmes. Fighters retire for a lot of reasons. For me personally, I retire because I like concentration and fire to continue. As for Larry Holmes, Father Time is knocking at his door, waiting for an answer. What's going to happen? Well, we don't know. But one thing is for sure, Larry Holmes, and only Larry Holmes, will make that final decision. Right, champ?
We'll score another knockout, Ray.
And whether he does or whether he doesn't, we will know in just a little bit as Larry Holmes fights David Bey for the heavyweight championship of the world. Will it be the finale? The answer is forthcoming. One person, of course, who really hopes that it will be is Diane Holmes. The wife, of course, of Larry Holmes looks on a little bit pensively at the moment. Well, right now, with his own unique view of just about every fight that we have, and to put things in perspective, here's our own Larry Merchant. Larry?
Larry Holmes is an overwhelming favorite to win tonight. He is so because he's answered every test of skill and will over a brilliant career. And yet there are respected boxing authorities, sensing that at 35 he is vulnerable, who are picking him to lose tonight. They think David Bey is the kind of fighter who can exploit an old fighter. David Bey is not only the kind of fighter, but the kind of person. He's dangerous because he's younger and hungrier, because he's bigger and stronger, and because he's very determined and very tough. Tex Cobb says he's not afraid of anyone, living or dead. The first time we saw David Bey at HBO, he was a 290-pound amateur. He's worked off 50 pounds to get here. That kind of dedication comes from his neighborhood and his genes.
This is the story of a boxer who became one because of his mother, a boxer whose achievements he credits to his father. This is a story about David Bey. In 1954, Joseph Bey married Esther Proctor. They settled in an area of Philadelphia called Nicetown and began what they hoped would be your typical American family. But in the eyes of others, it was not so typical.
My mother had to go through a lot of, she had a lot of problems back then, I guess, because for her marrying a black man. And, she had to stand strong just to keep us. I mean, everybody probably turned their back on us. I remember we used to walk down the street and people used to say, "Who's that white woman with them black kids?" And my mother used to turn around and tell me, "They mine."
Later, it would be evident that the pride Esther Bey exhibited to her children would one day prove to be very influential in their lives.
When the children grew up, they all had to stick together. It was a thing of survival. They got it from both sides. The whites criticized them, the blacks criticized them. And it seemed like everybody thought they were wrong. When David was small, at first he didn't like to fight. He's very peace-loving. But then, because
this time fighting for a different reason. His father.
And he did a damn good job raising 10 kids in the ghetto with the money he was making a week, and plus going through all the other things he had to take care of. It was good. He was a good man. Good man. To me, he a legend. He should be in the history book. But since he can't be in the history book, I'm going to the history books for him, and I'm going to be part of him.
Joseph Bey would be proud of his hard-working son David, who's more than followed in his footsteps, while Esther Bey can now walk the streets of Nicetown without criticism.
My mother and father made me what I am today. My father's strength and courage, and my mother's pride. You know, if it wasn't for my mother and my father, I wouldn't be the way I am today. My mother's pride would carry me because my mother had to go through a lot just to take care of us. And my father, I wish my father was still here to see it, but maybe it was meant for him to leave here to make me get stronger to go on. But my father and mother, I love them both. I love them both.
Well, it's been a long road to this place, the Strip in Las Vegas. We await the 15-round heavyweight championship fight between Larry Holmes, the champion, will it be his last, and David Bey, who wants it for his mother and his deceased father. Mom, incidentally, still back in Nicetown. Like Rocky Marciano's mother, she will not watch her son fight. Right now, let's go up to the ring announcer, Chuck Hull, for the introduction of our national anthem. Chuck?
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce these two talented young people standing at my side, Janet and Jermaine Jackson. And now it gives me a great honor to turn the microphone over to Jermaine Jackson for the rendition of our national anthem.
And so Jermaine Jackson has set the scene with a stirring lip sync of God Bless America. And now David Bey starts to make his way into the ring. His first heavyweight title fight, of course, and Bey says he's in peak form. He says flatly, I'm going to beat the man. I'm in better shape than he is. I'm going to knock him out. He says he's dreamed about knocking him out in 11 rounds, dreamed about knocking him out in 3 rounds, dreamed about knocking him out in 1 round, and he says maybe I'll knock him out in 14.
David Bey's record, just 14 fights, but I think that is a little bit misleading. First of all, his last fight, he ran right over a world-class heavyweight who is now the WBA champion, Greg Page. Secondly, he had a long and distinguished amateur career, the equivalent perhaps of 10 or a dozen 4- and 6-round fights that other heavyweights in the past have had, so he could easily be 25-0. He's a big, tough guy, and he can give Larry Holmes all the problems he wants.
Well, I'll tell you, Ray Leonard, there are a lot of people around this fight, more so than any championship fight I've ever seen. When you ask, do you give the challenger a chance, they might say, well, if this, if that, if the other thing. More people that I've talked to in the last couple of days have said, yes, flat out, I think this guy's going to win the fight.
Well, that's the anticipation, Barry, because they think that this is the time for Larry Holmes to be taken, especially by a big guy like David Bey. One thing about it also, Larry Holmes knows what people are talking about.
But when you look, if in fact styles make fights, you have to look at David Bey and say he's made to order for Larry Holmes. And there are the career records of some of the great champions. Rocky Marciano, of course, 49-0, and Larry Holmes, well, we've said it. He would like, somewhere in his heart, to best the record of Rocky Marciano. Joe Louis, of course, was just the 3 losses, and 2 of them coming at the tail end of his career. And Muhammad Ali, 56-5. So Larry Holmes right up amongst the greats. Meanwhile, David Bey just trying to stay warm in there, and this, of course, is an old game now because Larry Holmes very likely will make him stand around and wait a little bit.
Well, the nerves are jumping inside of David Bey, and Larry Holmes is playing that game. Most of the time it works, Barry.
We should point out that right now it is about 22 minutes after 7 here in Nevada, and Larry Holmes was not in his locker room until sometime around 6:30. Now that's something of a surprise.
Well, normally a fighter gets to his dressing room at least 2 hours prior to the bout. There had to be a legitimate reason, a logical reason rather, why Larry Holmes wasn't there.
Larry Merchant, you've made it clear that you do give David Bey a very honest chance to win this fight. You talked a little bit about some of the whys, but let's elaborate on that just a little bit more.
Well, I think the main issue for David Bey is, can he take a punch? Because he's going to get punched, particularly early in the fight. He is a wide swinging fighter, and Larry Holmes is about as straight shooting a fighter as you've ever seen with his straight jab and right hand. So the matchup obviously favors Holmes in that regard. But Holmes hasn't really hurt the big guys. It's been said that he's fighting an elephant without an elephant gun. And if he can take those punches early, then I think we've got something here.
David Bey does have a lot of crowd support. As you can see, the Pile Drivers Union, Local 454. That, of course, is David Bey's union. He says, I'll never give up that union card.
He's a pile-driving man.
That's right, like John Henry, right? David Bey, of course, with a lot of amateur experience. As you can see, 49-4 and 42 first-round knockouts. He doesn't fool around.
You know, Barry, important to bring out is the fact that the handicap that David Bey has is the fact that he cuts easy. And with Larry Holmes' jab, if it's consistent and accurate, it's going to create a lot of problems for David Bey.
Interesting point about that, something we had just heard before this fight, that since David Bey's last fight in November, he has been soaking his face in salt water, and that allegedly will toughen the skin. Do you buy it?
Well, I tell you, when I came back to resume my career, I used some type of solution, salt solution. It didn't help me at all.
And so whether or not it helps David Bey remains to be seen. He had 3 cuts in his last fight against Greg Page. We should point out he won the fight. And Page, subsequent to that, of course, went on and won a heavyweight championship of his own. So that will either tell us really how good David Bey is or how not so good Greg Page is. And here comes the champion, Larry Holmes. He seems to be all business. This will be his 18th title defense. He is still undefeated, pretty much unmarked, although he did have a very serious cut, the result of a butt, really, against James Bone Crusher Smith. And there is still some scar tissue there.
Well, Larry Holmes also stated, Barry, that he's not concerned about breaking Rocky Marciano's record, which I think if he should do that, a great accomplishment.
He has come in a little bit heavier than usual. In fact, this is the second heaviest he has ever been for a heavyweight championship fight. Larry Holmes now will see just how mobile he is once we get going. Now, he doesn't feel he's going to have to be that mobile against this guy.
Well, I saw Larry Holmes in training, and that left jab looked very good to me.
And here's Larry Holmes' record. It's a remarkable record. He's overcome being knocked down in other adversity, fighting hurt, sometimes fighting sick. But all the excuses he's had have come after victories, not after defeats. And that's what separates a great, stable champion from those guys who come and go.
He always seems to be fighting for his reputation, fighting for his place in boxing history, Ray. Do you feel in his own mind he's arrived at that now?
Well, I'm sure. Larry Holmes is established, and he knows fully well he's a great champion.
Well, let's take a look at how these two match up against one another. And, of course, that big number right up at the top is just that, a big number. 35 years of age is Larry Holmes. The question I guess you might have to ask is how old are his legs? Otherwise, pretty comparable between these two. David Bey at 28, 7 years his junior. You have to think, yes, he's going to be a little bit quicker. Yes, he might be able to go a little bit further. But experience, of course, in this game means an awful lot. Well, one of the tools that we used that I think used with some degree of success in our last fight, and that being the Bramble-Mancini fight, was the Sports Information Database Fight Stat. And, Larry, we will be using that again tonight to whatever end.
Yeah, this is our computer toy that measures a fight quantitatively rather than qualitatively. It tells us how active a fighter is. And Larry Holmes, in fighting the fighters we thought were most similar to David Bey, 7 years ago against Norton, he was throwing 65 punches around. Against Jerry Cooney, almost 3 years ago, 40 punches around. And also against Bone Crusher Smith, 40 punches around. The surprising thing about all that, he has landed exactly 20 punches around in all of those fights. So his claim that he's more efficient and more economical as a fighter is true. And here are his jabs. He threw 42 per round against Norton, 26 in these other two fights, and he landed 13 jabs in each of those fights per round. Once again, more economical and efficient. Now, David Bey, in his only fight against a world-class fighter, Greg Page, threw 32 punches per round and landed approximately half of them. He says he wants to throw twice as many in this fight. That remains to be seen. Page was a fighter who moved away from him more than Holmes will. It's conceivable he will throw more punches in this fight.
All right, so those are all the numbers. What's left then is to get getting. And now for the pre-fight announcements, let's go up to ring announcer Chuck Hall.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Riviera Hotel, where tonight Don King Productions, in association with the Riviera, presents Perseverance, the grand finale. These bouts are sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Sig Rogich, chairman, with commissioners at ringside this evening, Mr. Dwayne Ford, Mr. Freddie Little, Mr. Sammy Macias, and Mr. Art Lurie. Representing the IBF at ringside this evening, Mr. Jimmy Rondo. The officials assigned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for the next bout of the evening, the judges are Dalby Shirley of Las Vegas, Harold Letterman of New York City, and Tim McDonough of Tacoma, Washington. The timekeeper is Jane Broadfoot. Counting in the knockdowns, Al Bisick. The attending physicians at ringside, Dr. Donald Romeo and Dr. Charles Filippini. The referee for the next contest is Carlos Padilla. This is the main event of the evening. 15 rounds of boxing for the IBF World Heavyweight Championship. Introducing, in the blue corner, the challenger, fighting out of Middlefield, Ohio, weighing 233 1/4 pounds. His professional record consists of 14 wins, no defeats, with 11 KOs. He is a USBA heavyweight champion. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing David Bey. And in the red corner, fighting out of Easton, Pennsylvania, weighing 223 1/2 pounds. He is undefeated in his professional career with 46 wins, no defeats, and 33 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes.
So there are all the participants in this one. Larry Holmes, Ray, looks all business right at the moment.
Well, on the Becker's Road, this is it, and we will see.
On David Bey's left arm, a tattoo that says Bey, but says B-A-Y. The reason he says he has that, he says people always mispronounce my name, so I'm not going to have any doubt about it. I'll put it right on my body.
I wonder if the tattoo artist blew it and he's just compensating for it.
Only man with a typo in a three-letter word. Here's the instructions.
Of boxing. Avoid using any kinds of foul. Don't throw any punches during the break. Is that clear? Any questions? Let's have a good fight. Okay. So let's come out fighting.
Larry Holmes says, let's have a good fight. David Bey, no conversation. Carlos Padilla, of course, very experienced referee.
One thing I want to point out here, as I said earlier, David Bey's weakness is down the middle because he throws wide punches. He may try what Tim Witherspoon did, which is to use his right hand as a foil, much because Witherspoon and he have had the same trainer.
The most technical approach for David Bey is to get inside of Larry Holmes, make him work, make him exchange punches. On the outside, I don't think he has that much of a chance.
David Bey, left hook followed by a looping right hand, sends Holmes into the ropes. I don't think he was hurt.
And like Larry stated earlier about being a steamroller, David Bey, Larry Holmes cannot let David Bey get momentum.
Carlos Padilla said, close your gloves. He was hitting Larry Holmes with an open hand. Wild left hand by David Bey. Bey did get tired in the later rounds against Greg Page. Feeling out process going on here. I'm sure Larry Holmes wants to see what's in front of him. He is not a notoriously quick starter.
You notice what David Bey is doing, just pretty much just popping that jab out, nothing hard. Normally, our guys try to set his man up for a right hand.
Short left hook by David Bey, caught mostly by the gloves of Larry Holmes. Holmes has seen it all. There's no question about it.
What I see in David Bey, and which is a bad mistake and bad habit, is our right hand. You notice that right hand is right on his chin. So a good left hook thrown by Larry Holmes will land perfectly. But he definitely has the timing.
David Bey historically has had to get business done early if he was to do business. And we'll see if that's the case now that he has a little bit of experience.
Larry Holmes working his left jab.
Wild right hand.
Like Larry said, he's now just trying to take his time and make every punch count. He's picking his shots now.
And just kind of flicking off David Bey's jab, which has largely been ineffective here in the first round. 30 seconds remaining, first round.
Larry's best shot is he throws that left jab to the body, comes over with the overhand right.
Neither man really scoring here in the first round. Workmanlike round for the champion. At the bell.
David Bey not being as aggressive and reckless as he was expected to be in that round.
Plug it under.
He's trying to carry his right hand over like Chip Witherspoon. Double your jab. Try to come off with the hook.
Keep pulling back.
Right.
Can't get it in there right.
Larry Holmes threw only 29 punches, but was landing 50%.
Yeah, up and down.
Percentage he's been landing in his recent fights, mainly because David Bey didn't come to him as much as he expected.
One more.
Eddie Futch was advising Holmes in that round to throw a double up on his jab and then throw some hooks. But the thing is, Larry Holmes has never been a hooking fighter. And that's why Bey can keep his right hand in front of his chin.
A lot of experience in the corners of both these people. Bobby Lewis in the corner of David Bey, and of course Eddie Futch, the veteran, in the corner of Larry Holmes. Holmes talking to David Bey, and I think what he said was, watch your head. Very apparent that Holmes is just trying to pick his spots here early on.
Well, he's throwing a jab to the body often because it's a large target and it's very difficult to miss the body. The head, a lot of times, you know, it's difficult to land a punch.
Good counter-punching right hand by Larry Holmes. You can see him kind of sit back and wait for that.
It's a dangerous attempt by David Bey. He left himself wide open.
Bey just pawing with the left hand. Missed with that right.
Larry Holmes just pulled him back just enough to get out of the way of the right hand, David Bey's right hand.
And now Holmes brings the jab up to the head of David Bey. Holmes effective with that jab. He's moving it around pretty well.
Well, he started to measure. That was a very good right hand by Larry Holmes. What he's doing, Barry, he's starting to measure David Bey. He'll pop his left jab to the body, up to the head. What happens, Bey rushes in with his head first.
Bey's jab absolutely ineffective here.
Larry Holmes loses his shoulder very well then. And basically, Larry Holmes now is just trying to counterpunch. And what I mean when I say counterpunch, when a fighter throws a punch, the other guy retaliates, especially when he makes this guy miss. This is another good opportunity to counterpunch. Right, as Bey throws that left jab, he brings it back too slow and also drops it. Good time to counterpunch.
That was a good left hand by Bey. He has Holmes hurt. Out of nowhere, David Bey with a good, solid punch.
That time, David Bey was able to counter Larry.
And Bey trying to bomb Larry Holmes. He had him hurt for a moment.
I'm watching Larry's facial expression. He's keeping calm. And that is the key. He can't get too excited.
He has been there on many occasions.
That's when the experience comes in.
Holmes does not appear hurt any longer. He was definitely stunned by the punch of David Bey.
I think Bey blew a great opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Very good left hook by David Bey.
David Bey landed the best punch of the fight so far, but he didn't do much else in that round. And you have to wonder right now, is he showing too much respect for Holmes, or is the plan to be more deliberate now so that he can come on later?
All right, look.
Let's see that punch and how it lands. There's a left hand, and Holmes backing away, back right into that punch, Ray.
Well, that's a mistake that Larry's making. He's moving backing straight up, and he's giving Bey momentum.
We've seen it from 3 angles, and it was the same hard punch right to the point of the chin.
Shots with the combination to hit that right hand down in the body, you got it. Just work what you've been doing. Work the way you've been doing, right? It's the upper body movement, and the hands is busy. That jab worked. Let him go. Yeah. Let's go.
Ray, I'm continually amazed at the only effective corners I've ever seen in the sport of boxing are where there is one voice being heard. You just got a good example of that. Bobby Lewis, the only man in the corner of David Bey, was doing any talking.
It can be quite confusing when a corner, too many guys talking in the corner. Larry Holmes now is on his toes.
And Bey countering by doing the same thing, actually.
This is really the signs of a good fighter, a great champion, because he's changing his tactics now, trying to see which is more effective.
Bey with that right hand that you can see coming. Doesn't exactly disguise that right hand. Holmes on his bicycle now, just showing David Bey a different look, different side, both figuratively and literally.
Larry has to move. He's moving one way. He should be moving both ways, left and right. Because those looping punches that are thrown by David Bey can land. That was the same punch that Snipes really put Holmes down with.
Wild left hand by David Bey again, and Holmes comes back on it, but misses with a combination. There's just a slight bit of swelling under the left eye of Larry Holmes. There won't be any problem right at the moment.
The kind of punches that Bey throws, there's two ways to get away from it. Number one, you can step into it because quite naturally by being an old, looping punch, it's not going to land effectively, or you can dance away, like Larry Holmes is trying to. Well, he's been trying to do.
Right hand just got a piece of the face of Larry Holmes. And Bey continues to bring his punches. He's good right hand counter punch by Larry Holmes hurt David Bey. So to say, Bey punches sort of east and west, while Holmes is moving north and south.
Just then, David Bey put both feet together. It's very easy to get knocked down that way.
Both men so far seem to be in pretty good condition. Nobody seems to be any more tired than they were at the opening bell.
With Bey, Larry Holmes can't just lay back. He has to be consistent and keep this man busy, keep him thinking.
Holmes has picked up the tempo here in this third round as we wind down toward the end of round number 3.
Holmes landed an awfully good punch on Bey in that round, and Bey didn't budge, didn't flinch. You'd never know he'd been hit, which means that this could be a very long fight.
Take it, knock him out. Knock him out now. Take a big breath in. You're bad, man. You're bad. You knocked this motherfucker out. Knock him out. That's it. Better in. Come on. All right. You knock him out now. Not too much water. You're okay.
Double up the jab once in a while, Chad. And try your 1-2. You haven't tried the right hand behind your jab. Then set it up. Yeah, just set it up. Okay. Because you made him use his legs already. He didn't want to use them this early. All right. Okay.
Round 4, Dave.
Oh, yeah?
There you see David Bey's
man.
statistics with 26 punches in that round, fewer than he threw in the Page fight. His corner seems satisfied that he's making Holmes work harder than he really wants to. Let's see if that's true.
It was a funny thing that David Bey said. He said, just the 4th round, I have 11 more rounds to go.
Bobby Lewis also said you made him use his legs that round, and that was true as Holmes was up on his toes and had to move around a little bit. Sounds as though David Bey's corner might be gambling on the fact that Larry Holmes is not in peak condition. A little bit of red under the left eye of David Bey now, too. No cuts, but just a little bit of redness. And a right hand, they say no knockdown. It was a slip. I didn't think it was that good a right hand.
No, it was a slip.
In Bey's corner, they were saying, go ahead and knock him out. Just go ahead and knock him out. Easier said than done.
Bey is a dangerous type of a fighter. First of all, he's very strong, and his punches are not really straight. And each punch can really hurt you.
Bey continues to have that right hand right across his jaw. There was a good right hand, and it stood Larry Holmes straight up, and he doubled up with it. Holmes does not appear hurt, but he did get his attention.
One thing about it, too, that right hand, he put everything behind it. David Bey put everything behind that right hand. One thing about Bey, I see it in his eyes. He is thinking.
Bey throwing a little more in combination now, too, Ray.
Well, he saw the right hand gets through. Then he just walked away. And he see the right hand starting to land. He's able to get through Larry Holmes' defense.
Holmes stays right in front of him, however. Good exchange right there. Bey got the better of it. One upstairs, one downstairs.
Bey just became a counter-puncher. Larry threw his punch. David Bey gave him shoulder and came back with his own right hand.
Bey, a little bit more work here in this round. Good solid jab by Larry Holmes right on the nose of David Bey. Still a little swelling under the left eye of Bey.
Good jab by Larry. He has to keep that up, Barry.
And just as Larry Holmes was doing in the first couple of rounds, David Bey now seems to be just waiting for his shot.
Bey seems to be waiting for the throw that right hand. Just release it. There he tried it.
Carlos Padilla separates him from off the ropes. We come near the end of the fourth round.
The surprising thing in this fight so far is that David Bey has been able to avoid Holmes' good right hand. It's not a great, strong right hand, but it's a good, straight and solid and accurate right hand, and Holmes hasn't been able to hit him very much with it. I thought Bey convincingly won that round, and it seems that he's absolutely fearless in there as far as Holmes is concerned. Here we see when Holmes went down, Holmes was off balance. Obviously not a knockdown. And here later in the round, Bey coming in, and there was a solid right hand, a big sweeping right hand jug, as they call the curveball in baseball, right on the jaw of Holmes.
Kill that body.
He's telling Bey now to go for the body.
You got a good look at the swelling. It's actually alongside and a little bit underneath the left eye. It's not really the kind of thing that right at this moment would be any kind of a factor in the fight. Makings of a good fight here. Holmes now up tempo to start this round.
Shot by Bey.
Very good right hand, right to the ribs.
Larry's finding it difficult to find a target with that right hand.
Bey doesn't look like he would be any kind of a secret, but he has made Larry Holmes miss.
Well, he's starting to move his upper body. And as big a man as he is, he's doing a pretty good job.
Right hand by Larry Holmes, short right hand, got in, but that was a good shot by Holmes, and Bey didn't take a backward step. Swelling still there under the eye of David Bey. Holmes trying to make use of that jab with only a modicum of success so far.
Larry wants to throw the right hand, but he knows that Bey's right hand is cocked also, anticipating.
Well, Bey has gotten Larry Holmes' attention on a couple of occasions, and so Holmes has got to show a little bit of respect. Good combination by Holmes, a wild left hand. In Holmes' corner, they continue to yell Everlast, and as we mentioned in a couple of other Larry Holmes fights that we've done here on HBO, that usually is a signal for their fighter to go for the body.
And again, the body is a big target, and you just can't move the body like you can the head. Seeing something quite unusual in David Bey, starting to move around. Now for the overhand right with Larry.
And it's there for him. He went downstairs, pretty good shot to the heart that time.
Step up.
I was surprised that Larry went to the body with that right hand.
Combination by Bey, good counter punch by Holmes, and that stunned Bey.
When Larry throws his punches, Bey fires right back. I think that's making Larry cautious.
Larry's now starting to come up with his punches, a little bit more of an uppercut rather than that straight right hand that is the Holmes trademark.
Another surprising round in that Bey is not being as forceful as expected, showing some boxing ability, making Holmes lead.
Keep going to him, champ. You gotta keep going to him. He can't do anything when you're backing him up. When he steps back, you step in. Keep that punching. He wants a lot of punching room. Don't give it to him.
He's starting to tire now. Now you got to keep on him.
You got to be there, champ. You got to be there. You work with all the time. You work them all the time. You're the boss then. You're the champ, right?
Body two. Bang, 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 bang. You're finishing up. He's finishing up with a right hand. With the right uppercut. You finish up with a right hand on top. You understand?
The right hand is cold to be easier.
I know it. Now, also, on the back of my hand.
Yes, all right. Wipe this one. Right? You know what you need to do, Big Jack? Come on, we do it all day in the gym. Come on, knock him out here.
You get him in the
knock
corner.
him out.
Hook him across him.
Right, Big Jack? Let's do it.
Both corners seem to be very happy at the progress of the fight up to this point. David Bey has survived the first third of the fight. Let's see if age does indeed begin to tell on Larry Holmes.
And in Holmes' corner, they're saying you got to be right on him. You got to keep him working. In Bey's corner, they were saying he's starting to get tired. They were saying, Ray, that David Bey should come over Larry Holmes' right uppercuts with his own right hand.
Well, normally when you throw a right uppercut, especially this from a distance, good left hook by Bey. From a distance, you're susceptible to take a right hand because your chin is open.
Holmes' wild right hand. Bey ducks under. Bey showing a very good ability just to slip punches here. Duck under punches. A lot quicker in his upper body than he appears to be.
Bey has that left hook, it's like a whip, and it's very effective, very strong.
Both these men, remember, undefeated as professionals. Larry Holmes in 46 fights, David Bey in only 14, but nary a loss between them. Neither man is cut. The only mark really is the slight swelling and a little bit of red chafing under the eye of David Bey. There was some swelling a little bit earlier under the left eye of Larry Holmes. It does not appear to be any worse. Good shot there.
That's what Larry has to do. Make Bey commit himself to a mistake by those wild punches, moving right hand, and then capitalize on it. He has the counter.
Okay, break it up. Break it up. Step up. Step up.
But it also makes you think twice when a guy possesses so much power in both hands.
Okay. Bey winds up with that right hand. 1 minute left. Bey perhaps taking a little bit of a breather here in this round.
Well, he's toying with that left hand of his and just keeping Larry at distance.
And Holmes doing what his corner exhorted him to do, and that is keep him busy, stay on top of him.
I like that combination just now by Larry Holmes. Didn't really land clean, but the fact he's trying something different now.
Combination mostly on the top of the head by Bey.
Bey threw a series of punches then. He went to Larry's body.
There was a good right hand. That might have been Bey's best shot, but Holmes didn't take a step back.
Bey hides that chin behind his shoulder. He keeps it tucked very low.
Well, the old champion is working hard.
You got to put them together, work them off. Up
When
and
Bey
down,
came
and
to
over.
him, he stood and counterpunched. When Bey backed up, he went after him.
Hook and cross worked on the guy. Keep looking for that shot in the corner. It's got to be a short left hook. Step in fast with a short left hook and a quick right hand behind.
Put my arm, left arm.
Here's David Bey with his haymaker that landed in Phoenix someplace.
And make them hands move constantly. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you see how few punches David Bey is landing.
And the hands move.
He's still being a little bit more resourceful and economical than we expected him to be, and perhaps that is to his own benefit. Perhaps he is, Ray, being a little too respectful of Larry Holmes.
And so we start the 7th round. We'll see now if David Bey really was just taking a breather in that round.
Which fighters often do they not, Ray? Oh, for sure, especially when you exert yourself. But, I don't know. I don't think he's really
okay, break it up.
respecting Larry too much because he started to get aggressive
Hold it,
at
hold
the
it.
beginning of each round.
but I think a couple times he had a good opportunity and he blew it.
Okay, hold it, hold it.
This, of course, is the 7th round. We're going 15 here. So not yet at the halfway point of this fight.
Okay, hold it, hold it, hold it.
Both men might have taken the best shot of their opponent so far. And
that's the best way to get a thumb in the eye because of the open glove of David Bey.
He was warned about that in the first round, remember, by Carlos Padilla. Holmes stalking David Bey.
That's the thing to do. That left jab, just keep popping it. That's all he has to do.
Bey just looking for the one shot. Bey might be getting a little bit tired.
Well, Larry's starting to work his left jab more and more, and he's starting to double up on it. Because the left jab, it leads up to everything. It sets your man up to the right hand, left hook, or whatever. Left jab is very important, Barry. A lot of fighters, they forget to use it.
Well, it is definitely what has brought Larry Holmes to his 46 victories without a defeat. It's been his primary weapon. The left jab has set it up, and the right hand more often than not has finished it off. Beautiful right hand right there.
That was a beautiful time right hand. Counter right hand.
This 7th round has never been of great success for the champion Larry Holmes. He has been staggered and in fact knocked down on a couple of occasions in the 7th round. Bombing right hand by David Bey, but it didn't appear to hurt Holmes.
What Larry's doing now, he's riding with the right hand. He's going with the flow of the punch. So he's taking the power away from him.
Bey still appears to be just looking for the, not so much the one punch, but the one punch that could stun Larry Holmes and then follow up on it. Biding his time. Holmes the busier of the two fighters.
That was a good round for Larry Holmes. I think it's fair to say now that he's outclassing David Bey, that Bey isn't doing enough to discombobulate him. I have Holmes well in front after 7 rounds.
You gotta put the pressure on. Yeah. You're waiting on him too much, Jeff. You're waiting too long. Jab, make him make the move, then you counter punch on him. Don't just wait on him to make the move.
Stick that jab out there, Big Jack. Start off with it. And finish with it. All right? And finish with it, Big Jack. Come on now. We want to work this fight. Come on now, work.
Now look at that percentage of
You're bad, man. You want to be
success. That's almost 80% of the punches that Holmes threw in that round. Remember that earlier, before the fight, we pointed out he was landing 20 punches a round. When he won the title from Ken Norton 7 years ago, 20 punches a round. When he defeated Jerry Cooney and Bone Crusher Smith, he landed 20 punches out of 26 thrown in that round. Excuse me, those were 20 jabs in that round.
So we come to the 8th round, a fight that right now seems to be controlled by the champion Larry Holmes.
Larry's starting to get a rhythm now. Starting to feel very relaxed.
He may also realize that David Bey is not going to hurt him.
Well, David Bey has landed his best punch.
Okay, bring it up. Step back, step back. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Step back. Okay, hold it, hold it. Step back, step back.
Holmes still up on his toes, moving pretty good right at the moment. 46 fights, how much wear and tear on the 35-year-old body, nobody knows.
Well, that's the question that people want to see answered, whether or not age is a factor with Larry Holmes, whether or not he's taking a lot of shots. Larry states he hasn't taken that much punishment in the ring. So this fight here, whether it's his last fight or not, means a lot to him.
That's swelling under David Bey's left eye now is a little bit worse. There's actually a puffiness all the way under the eye. It was alongside and below the eye before, and now it's getting very puffy and looks as though it could cut at any moment. It is below the eye, however, so blood will not get into the eye should that happen, but I'm sure it could be bothersome because the eye can start to close. That was the same eye that David Bey was cut on, under, I should say, against Greg Page.
One thing about it, those two cuts that he suffered in the fight with Greg Page did not affect his performance. He stayed aggressive and he continued to throw a lot of punches.
Good right hand, and Bey is down. Larry Holmes with a solid right hand. David Bey doesn't know where he is right now. He's got about 7 seconds to get it back together here. That was a stunning right hand.
Oh, we're talking history now. Larry, watch Larry go to work. Watch him go to work. Now this is where the experience comes in. Just a matter of time.
He's out. David Bey just trying to hold on for all he's worth here. Carlos Padilla trying to separate them.
His legs are gone. Larry's going to work that jab and get that right hand in.
It was a stunning right hand. There was another one. Holmes not wasting any punches. Bey just holding on. And he's got a long way to go. 30 seconds remaining.
Watch the right hand again, Barry.
Well, that could be it. That could be it. And Bey doesn't know where he is. Padilla taking a close look. Still 20 seconds to go in a round. Bey trying to hold on. He's got nothing left. Just hoping to weather the storm. And he's down again. And the count goes on here. David Bey just trying to get through it. He says, yes, I know where I am. I'm not sure he's right. And he did manage to get through the round.
That right hand was beautiful. The way Larry Holmes just set his man up.
Come on, baby. Look. Hey, look at me. You all right? Yeah, man. Look at me. You all right? I'm all right, Bobby. What you got? What I tell you about your hand? Right. I want your hand up. I don't want your hand down. David.
Okay. You hear me? You know where you are. You got a blue corner lying right there.
Let's take a look at this. Now Larry Holmes finally whipped the right across. There you saw a clean right hand. Bey was hurt, and the left hand just sort of pushed him over.
You understand? Hand up. Upper body's got
There again, later in the round, another right hand. Bey fighting back gallantly, although hurt and not knowing what state he's in. Pressure's down, but he got up and weathered the storm. David Bey disarmed landmines in the Army, but he's finding it harder to disarm Larry Holmes here in Las Vegas.
Now experience will dominate.
And Bey starts this round on rubber legs. And Holmes, of course, knows it.
Oh, Larry's picking his shots now. Again, the right hand will be the punch that probably would do David Bey in.
Bey is still
to the body.
He's on licorice sticks right now. He's got no place to go and no place to hide. Crowd chanting, Larry, Larry.
You can see Larry setting this man up.
Only
to the body
at a time.
To the body and watch straight to the head, Barry.
I think Bey knows it as much as Holmes knows it here. Larry was a little bit short with that right hand that time. Bey just trying to get life back in the legs. Easier said than done, isn't it, Ray?
It is, especially when you don't have that much experience. Bey did the right thing when he grabbed Larry and just held on. But see, at this stage now, this is when championship material comes in. All the experience, ring generalship, it comes into play.
Bey just trying to cover up, and Holmes still got through that with a good right hand.
Bey's reaching out, trying to give Larry this stiff jab. The mistake he's making, he's coming back. He's bringing that left jab back down.
Holmes just looks like he's just waiting for one shot here, waiting for the right opening. Doesn't want to waste anything.
What's going to happen? David Bey may regroup, but I doubt very seriously because I think Larry knows exactly what he's doing.
There's a good right-hand counterpunch by Larry Holmes to get Bey off him. Bey doesn't have much left.
Larry also knows that he can hurt David Bey. I think now he's just going to wear him down and make it easier because Bey is a strong guy, he's a big guy, so he's always dangerous. Larry's doing the right thing.
Bey pretty much stiff-legged right at the moment, just like his legs don't want to follow his body.
You notice David Bey's punches are not that crisp anymore.
Holmes continuing just to bide his time here, just playing a waiting game. And it appears only to be a question of time.
Cigar has yet to start his combinations again. And I think Carlos Padilla is keeping a close eye on David Bey.
Crowd really in support of Larry Holmes. In fact, as supportive as I can remember them being here in Las Vegas at the champion.
Bey now is starting to regain his strength. I just knew it was over.
Bey may have his legs back, but he's a tired fighter right now. All the starch seemed to go out in the 8th round. There was a good right hand by Larry Holmes. And another good right hand at the bell.
You have to give David Bey credit for surviving that round, for showing his courage. That's what got him here. His size, his courage, his discipline. Not his talent, obviously.
You gotta stretch it out and work on it. Huh? With your left hand up. I want it up. I want it up. I don't want your left hand down. You understand? And when you're there, when you're moving towards him, don't move towards him with your hand down. Hand up. Then you start to bang him. He's got body and head, body and head. Run your hand.
Close your eyes.
You understand what I'm saying?
All right, Big Jack. Come on. Take a big
push up. Push up on my stomach.
Push up.
Push up.
All right, Big Jack. Go out there and work it. Go out there and work it. Go work it off. Now it's more important than any fight. These rounds are most important.
Larry Holmes may not have an elephant gun, but he's got a machine gun and he still has a lot of bullets left in it.
And so we start the 10th round.
I didn't think that Bey could regroup as fast as he did. He was seriously hurt.
He was pretty lucid in his corner here between rounds, but whether or not he's got anything left remains to be seen. Started off with a combination, but didn't really hurt Holmes with it. There's a right hand by Holmes. Backs Bey right off him again.
There's a left jab, Larry Holmes back to the body. He's getting his rhythm again. Bey now just trying to throw one punch.
And he's proven to Holmes before that he can't do it with one punch. Holmes just doing a workman-like job here. It's just like a day at the beach.
Well, he's flat-footed, and that's power. He's come down off his toes now. I think now he wants to get this fight over with. When you slow down, when you get flat-footed, that's when your leverage really comes into play. And he should be down on his flat on his feet, because I think at this stage here, he should be able to control and dominate this fight. The late rounds are always Larry Holmes' rounds. This is when you cut the ring off also, Barry.
Holmes is just not trying to waste any shots. He's just kind of, looks to me like he's just taking his time, just biding his time. He knows he's got his man beat. He doesn't want to get careless. He knows he's in there against the strong guy. And the best word that comes to mind is workmanlike. He's just getting it done.
And he's not moving too far back now. You'll notice that. He's not moving too far back when Bey throws his punches. He's just standing there. And he's stepping in, and Bey's punches are starting to hit him around the back of the head. There's the left jab back to the body.
Holmes a very high percentage. There's a right hand. That could be the beginning of the end. Now let's see if Larry Holmes just tries to find one more shot. He's got his man hurt again. There's a combination. Bey looking for a place to fall down here, and Holmes may need one more. Holmes is on top of David Bey. Bey trying to grab on. Larry Holmes won't let him.
Now we see some combination. A lot of punches thrown by Larry.
And this one is over. Carlos Padilla says enough is enough. And Larry Holmes has retained his heavyweight championship. Chalk up number 47.
Larry fought a very, very smart fight. He took his time. He was hurt in the early rounds, came back, kept his head, and then dominated.
I can't argue the fact that Larry Holmes has fought anybody who wants to step into the ring with him. He's fought everybody there is. The question is, what is there?
Well, I think everyone now is just curious to see what Larry Holmes is going to do after his victory.
Well, it would not be the first retirement announcement that Larry Holmes has made. He's made one to me on about 8 different occasions, as a matter of fact. And he has said publicly, this will be it, this will be the last one, but you still have to feel, he always feels himself, that he has another hill to climb.
Well, the fact of the matter is, Barry, what could possibly drive him is to surpass the record of Rocky Marciano.
Let's take a look then at what was the punch that really started him going. And it was a really solid right hand.
Well, the right hand was the key punch and the most effective and devastating punch that Larry Holmes was able to land on David Bey. Here he works his jab, and Bey's just basically just falling apart here.
At that point, Bey had no legs left. He was really almost looking for a place to fall down or at least hold on to Larry Holmes, as he tried to do right there.
Well, the uppercuts were doing a pretty good job, and that looping right hand.
You know, I think there might be those who might criticize Larry Holmes for not really going after him when he had him hurt seriously earlier, as we take a look once more at the end of the end, if you will. And Larry Holmes, just a barrage of punches, getting his man in the corner. Carlos Padilla will come into your picture in just a moment. He's behind Larry Holmes now, taking a good look. You can see him right in the corner of your screen, and he will step in a moment and say, that's it, this one is over, as David Bey, really unable to fight back, just try to defend himself as best he could. Holmes opened him up right there. Still, Padilla looking in very closely, and one more right hand, and Carlos Padilla says, that's it, this one is all over. So Larry Holmes makes it 47 straight. What I started to say before is that I really do feel that Holmes was in a position of, I don't want to waste any punches. I know I got the guy. When I feel I really have him hurt, then I'll go after him, and that's what he did.
Well, that is the answer for the guys that say, you know, why didn't Larry finish him off sooner when he had him hurt? David Bey remained a dangerous fighter. Quite naturally, he possessed a big punch, and Larry did the right thing.
Holmes did have him hurt early and did look as though he could put his man away, but he didn't want to be careless. There's a good look at the left eye of David Bey. Not anything that really had a profound effect on the fight at all, but as the fight went on, you had the feeling that eye could have very seriously been swollen, and that would have affected the fight. Then he would not see the right hand, of course, of Larry Holmes coming.
Well, Bey did put up a gallant showing. He displayed a lot of heart, but experience, I feel, was a key factor and played a major role in the outcome of this fight.
Larry Merchant trying to make his way into the entourage of Larry Holmes. A lot of people around the champion as he looks on. Doesn't look particularly winded. Looked to me, as a matter of fact, like he could have easily gone to 15 rounds. He did seem very fit.
Well, Larry trained for this fight because he knew what he was facing in David Bey.
All right now let's go up to the ring announcer. Chuck Hull will get the official decision. Chuck?
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Carlos Padilla stops the bout at 2 minutes, 58 seconds of the 10th round. The winner by a TKO and still undefeated IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes.
All right now let's go to our own Larry Merchant, who is with the champion, Larry Holmes.
Larry, congratulations. It seems that you've opened...
First, I'd like to say something. First, I'd like to say hi to my mom back home. Hi to my daughters, Mr. Melissa and Belinda. Hi, everybody at Larry Holmes Commodore Inn, Larry Holmes Round 1, and Larry Holmes John Henry's Restaurant. I hope you're doing a good job back there, Jack, because we need the money, because this is it.
This is it. First, let's get to the fight. You've often said you don't want to fight any big, strong guys anymore. Did this guy give you any worry at all?
Yeah, because he's no style. Very awkward dog fighter. You know, very strong and determined. Wanted to prove that he was worthy at 14 fights.
He hurt you, it seemed, early in the fight. What did you do after that?
He didn't hurt me bad. He hit me with a good shot. Kind of surprised me a little bit. And I knew what I had to do. Stay there in the middle and wear him down.
Were you surprised he wasn't as reckless as you thought he might be, that he tried to box you and make you lead?
No, he was reckless, Larry. He was very reckless. That's why it took me as long as it did to get to him. A boxer with right hands, left jabs, and whatnot, they're fighters that I can take. But this guy was throwing any old punch like Bone Crusher Smith. You didn't know where he was coming from, so it made him a good fighter.
All right, you said this is it. Now, you've often said this was your last fight 5 or 6 times. You give us your interpretation now of what this is it means.
This is it means I retire. If I don't get an offer from Michael Spinks by end of April, I retire. That offer got to come from Michael Spinks at a reasonable amount of $4 million, or Jerry Cooney for $25 million. I don't need the money anymore.
Aren't you pricing yourself out and in effect retiring when you ask for that kind of money from those fighters?
Oh yeah, I am. And you know, I'm looking forward to my retirement on June the 9th. I fought a lot, and I'm really looking forward to retiring. But if somebody's crazy enough to come with $3 to $4 million for a lightweight like the winner of Hagler and Hearns, or the winner of anybody lighter than a heavyweight, I'll retire.
Thank you, Larry, and now back to Ray and Barry.
Okay, thank you very much, and congratulations. And that I would interpret, just to go through all of that and interpret it, I would say he hasn't retired.
Well, I would fight guys that flyweights and light flyweights. I would fight. I'd love to. I would never retire.
All right, I personally, and I think Larry Holmes also saying, as we get Ollie Dunlap's arm into that. Ollie's always wanted to get on television here. He, of course, is Ray Leonard's road manager. Now he's going to ask for bigger bucks, too. But speaking of asking for bigger bucks, that's exactly what the champion seems to be doing right now. He seems to be looking for the big fight, and you have to feel that there will be more from Larry Holmes.
For sure. I think Larry's going to exist as long as he still has the same spirit and the competitive fight.
In one word, give me your evaluation of Larry Holmes tonight.
Great.
That was easy enough. And so be sure to join us in May when HBO Sports presents a candid look at the world of sports. Tune in to the not-so-great moments in sports. It's coming in May right here on HBO. So for Larry Merchant and Sugar Ray Leonard, I'm Barry Tompkins saying so long from Las Vegas, Nevada. The executive producer of HBO Sports is Tim Brain. Tonight's telecast was produced by Ross Greenberg and directed by Mark Payton. The associate producers were Rick Bernstein and Linda Jackson Christian. The associate director was Peter DePaula. The assistant to the producer, Michael J. Whalen. And the production manager,